Just do this. Hi, welcome back. And if you are a new viewer, welcome here to my channel. My name is Brittany and I am sitting on the floor in my living room because it seems like a good place with light. It is solstice today here in Whitehorse, Yukon, and it is going to be the longest night and the shortest day. I always look forward to this day because it means that we will begin to get 5 more minutes every day of daylight. So right now we see the sun at around, I want to say something like 3:30, maybe even 4 for about half an hour. And then it dips back down, so it's like a little mini sunrise and then back down again. So here in Whitehorse, Yukon, which is the traditional territory of the Kwantlen First Nation and the Tonquachon Council. I was born and raised here. I usually begin out this channel talking about where I live and acknowledging the land that I live here on. And anyways, my husband and I, we currently build homes up here in the subdivision that we live in, and I have a small business called Crux Fibres where I hand dye yarn, and I also get custom milled yarns made from a flock in Caroline, Alberta. This is Heidi, my cat, and you might see an appearance of our rabbit, Agnes. She's a white and satin Angora bunny, but she's currently hiding underneath the couch, which is her spot to be. This is my Heidi girl. We love her. We found her in our backyard last year, and she had no home. She was skinny, 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 and I think she chose us as her family. She won't even try to escape outside. Oh, you sweet girl. Anyways, so this is a channel where I talk about things that I delve into with knitting, specifically wool fiber and other type of fiber I can get my hands on. I am a hand spinner and self-taught hand spinner, self-taught knitter. Well, my mom taught me how to cast on. From there, it was more like just I just learned as I went. I think this is episode 11 or 12, and you'd think by now I would remember to turn off my coffee machine after I've made my coffee. But anyways, so wouldn't that be just a little bit of that icebreaker in the beginning of an episode here? Anyways, I'm drinking coffee, black as always, in my Cayman's pottery mug. I think she uses slabs of pottery and shapes them. I'm not too sure. I'm not very well versed in in pottery. I love it and I collect it like many other people do. But I love that this has flowers on it. Specifically, I think poppies or combination of different flowers. Something else. I don't remember what this one is. We don't get those native up here, but so White Horse Yukon is northwest Canada. It is very cold, and I'm going to tell you what temperature it is right now. It is almost minus 33 outside. No wind chill. It doesn't usually get this cold. This windy at these temperatures here. We are surrounded by mountains. We are in a valley, but it does get very cold. And in the last few days, it's been minus 40 and even as low as minus 45. So you can imagine that that is cold. The difference between here and some other places in the world that reach those temperatures is that it is quite dry here now. As it gets colder, the humidity evaporates and the cold is just dry and it's bearable. Whereas if it's, if you're somewhere humid and it's not that cold often, it's pretty bone-chilling cold. So I'm grateful for a very energy efficient home that we've built, and just really grateful for, the ability to be able to build a home and have a small business and be, I would like to say, successful in it. So anyways, thank you. Thanks for being here. I'm so glad that you are here and that you're joining me for this podcast. I will be talking about some knitting and some crocheting. A little more colorful things than you've seen on this channel before, and I have a few larger works in progress I'd love to chat about. Here comes the Agnes, my bunny. Hey, you gonna come say hi? Maybe if I got her a treat. Would you like a treat? Just gonna make our way around. Hi. And yeah, so I've got some projects, some really fun ones I'd love to show you. So if you do hear some rattling noise or here and there, it's just the rabbit and the cat walking around. So the first thing I finished that I'd like to talk to you about is the hat that I'm wearing. I believe I had this casted on the last time. It is the, gosh, what is it called now? I'll link it below if it doesn't come to my mind. It is, oh dear, something. Bolton Pass Hat by Espace Tricot. It's a designer or a shop in Quebec, I believe, or Ontario. And I guess one treat. I knit it in, I mentioned last time what I knit it in, which is my 2-ply Marled DK. She's hiding. Anyways, I'm a bit of a waffly one this afternoon. So I knit this with a 3.25 millimeter needle, and what I like about it is the ribbing. It doesn't go all the way around the hat, it just goes up and down, so you got the interest of ribbing here and there, but also stockinette, so it's not overwhelmingly ribbed, because there comes a point where you stop ribbing, or you get less ribbing and it's more stockinette. And the decrease I did differently. I just did an 8. I did like an 8-point decrease, so I chose 8 points and decreased on those until I got down to, a small amount of stitches, like 5 or so, and then just fed the thread in. This hat has gotten so much cozier as I've been wearing it. It's such a light fabric, but it's so warm. And I'm so sorry, but I don't have any more of this yarn left. It's all sold out. My low mileage wool has been really well received, and I'm so grateful and so thankful that that people want to journey with me as I explore the fiber from this flock. So Sierra from Crocus Country Shepherdess is the shepherd of this flock of Gotland cross sheep. other bloodlines within them are Blueface Leicester, Dorset, and some heritage breeds, some Icelandic. Some of the sheep's fleeces are coming out with a bit of Toque and, you know, a fuzzier undercoat like fell. Anyway, so this is just, it's a light marled DK. Actually, so the color, like, it's lightly marled. It's not, the contrast isn't too wild. So if you're not a fan of marled yarns, but you may want to be exploring them, you could look for ones with the lower contrast marling, because it just adds a little bit of, let's see if we can get this light to look a bit more cooler. Just adds, the white there pops, gives pops of like, just a glow, a little shine. And yeah, so Jackie from the Knitting a Good Yarn podcast, she had my yarn and she knit this hat, and when I saw it on her, I loved the way it looked, and I just had to knit it, so that's why I casted it on. Hello, Agnes. And here, want a treat? So it's my hat. I have also knit another hat, and I'm going to pop in some footage here in a moment. And it is another Vuono hat, just like the one I knit the last time, but I used these two yarns. So the recipient I was concerned would find this yarn too itchy, so I used this one as part of the double brim to soften it up so that she could wear it comfortably. And this is my handspun, which I showed the last time, which is from the sheep honey, when I blended alpaca and a spongy downy wool to give it some more body, because the churro was pretty long staple length, a lot more of the thicker fur than the lighter downy wool. So every shepherd I get wool from that I develop a sort of a relationship with, I like to return to them something in their wool. So I hand spun Honey's wool and knit this hat, and I'd like to share it with you on some footage. So so I didn't do anything different with the pattern. I just used the same needles called for, and I think I knit the brim a little bit longer than called for, so then I actually had to do, I think I had to do one less stitch pattern repeat. So I really love that hat. I actually have another one casted on that I won't show because I'm not that far in, but I really love knitting that hat. It's a lot of ribbing to begin with, but the double brim is worth it. So worth it. So, yeah. I have mentioned that my rabbit is very mischievous. She tried to make her way downstairs, which she's not allowed to go down right now. So, the hat for Camden, she's this shepherdess from Prairie Shepherdess. I'm gonna be so distracted by these pets, you guys. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't be doing this on the floor. Hi. And so Camden is 15 years old. She must be getting close to 16. She has her own flock of Navajo churro and Icelandic cross sheep. Some of them are registered, I believe. And she breeds for wool and she breeds for meat. She tans her own hides. She makes dryer balls. She's just a overall very talented entrepreneur that I love to support and share with you all about her fiber journey with her sheep. She got to take over farming, raising with on the property where her parents have raised her. That bunny. You're gonna maybe see her come over here. Anyway, so I sent her that hat and she received it. She was very happy to wear it. I'm so glad I did this yarn underneath the brim so that it would be super soft. There she is. So the other yarn that I used, I've shown here on the podcast already, and this is from the sheep dot. It comes from the farm, Ferme Fiola farm in Manitoba, and Christelle has a flock of different cross sheep. Don't you dare get into my Nutiden there, bunny. So that was nice. Those were 2 hats I've knit. I knit them all pretty quickly, and then from there I moved on to some finishing some socks. So actually, the last episode I didn't show these socks because I couldn't. Uh-oh, one moment. The bunny's been put into bunny jail. Naughty, naughty bunny. Where was I? Right, so these socks, I did not show because I couldn't, but today is solstice, and it's the day where everyone can open up their solstice boxes that they purchased from me, and these socks here are the Arctic Trail socks, and they're designed by Paula from Autumn Poppy Designs. It's looking more orange. It's actually more of a gold color to resemble the color of pie crust. And then you get some colors that are pretty resemblant of Northern Lights. And the red is cherries or cranberries. And so this is stockinette bottom, heel flap gusset. This is actually knit cuff down, so this is actually double. It's meant to be a double or rolled cuff or folded cuff. So some ribbing in the beginning, and then you get into this, I think it's 3x1 rib. So these are oversized. They are so cozy. I really enjoy wearing these. They were a pleasure to knit. I actually tested the pattern for Paula. So, and I can say that pattern was very well written. She's very good at writing her sock patterns. She's done like a year of designing tons and tons of socks with all sorts of different techniques. She loves her cuff down. She does do some toe up, but her preferred method is cuff down. So if you are cuff down, love her, with a eye of partridge heel, you will enjoy this. So yeah, this colorway is called, oh dear, you guys. This colorway is called the Longest Night, and then this colorway is called, I'm trying to think of what I called it now. Agnes! I can't remember what I called it now. Anyways, I don't have any, so you wouldn't even be able to buy it anyways. Maybe I'll replicate the colorway. We shall see. So yeah, these are really fun. I don't often knit socks with lots of busyness going on, but these were fun. I loved how they striped a bit and pooled in the gusset. So overall, I'm very happy with this pattern, and I hope that those of you who did get the solstice box will be happy with the yarn you got and all of the other goodies. I was going to share on my Instagram page what all the other goodies were, probably tomorrow or the next day. We shall see. And then I also finished another pair of socks. Sorry, that sock is knit in my BFL 2-ply, which is a yarn I regularly stock, but I wasn't able to in the last few months because of a supply chain issue. But I've been able to get it back. I don't have anything in the shop right now, maybe a few sock sets, but I do plan on bringing a restock back in the new year. So that is a yarn that is spun in Canada with imported wool from Britain. So this is my low mileage wool sock. I had these casted on last time I chatted with you guys. I think I was just at the toe on one of these, but I finished a whole pair. These were just on my feet, so excuse the, you know, worn look. So I just used my sickle sock pattern for the construction. Right here I'm holding a Canadian Mohair lace weight yarn that I offer in my shop, double with the yarn. And so this is a higher percentage Scotland yarn. It's pretty sturdy. This is my second pair of socks that I've knit, and my first pair I've been wearing for close to a year, and I haven't had to darn anything. It's just a nice robust type of yarn because it's Scotland. And then it features a fleagle heel, and I like the body of the leg of my socks to be quite long. I did start my gusset and heel a little too late, so they're a little bit oversized on my feet, but nothing a good little bit of felting can't do to help it get better fitted. Or I can just double up some socks. And yeah, I did a 2x1 cuff and a nice stretchy bind off, probably too stretchy, but I don't care. They're cozy, they're warm, they're durable. I love them. They're so cozy. If you do get your hands on some Gotland yarn or some of my low mileage wool, they really do make some nice socks. And putting all aside your theories that you know about yarn, when you got a good long wool that isn't fine, it's a medium long wool, you're gonna get some sturdy socks. I don't knit merino socks anymore. Anyways, I do use that word a lot, so I do apologize for the overuse of that word and any other things I might do that annoy you. Like that. Okay, being a bit silly today. So, I covered the hats, covered the socks, and now I'm going to cover the colorful fun stuff. Are you ready? Okay, I am. What should we do first? Okay, I'll start with what I started on first. Okay, so my daughter Sybil is completely obsessed with unicorn cats. Completely obsessed. She always wants everything unicorn cat. Coloring page, everything. So I went onto the old Ravelry and looked up unicorn cat, and I found this pattern. So if you do follow me on Instagram, you will have seen the construction of this little cat. It's crocheted. Look at these little curlies. A little scarf, an embroidered mouth. It's not perfect, but just perfect in its own way. A nose, some eyes, some ears. Got a little unicorn and little flowers on the top, and then at the back is her mane of just curls. I think my tension was a little loose, so they didn't curl quite as much as they did on the tail, because I learned my lesson, but I didn't want to like go and redo any of these, and I just thought it's got its own character the way it is. So I hope she loves it. She said a unicorn stuffy, and I hope it's squishy enough to be a stuffy for her. And the yarn I used was some old stash yarn. This is some Hue Loco, a custom spun yarn she had in a naturally dyed color. It's kind of lilac-y. And then the white is Dot. We got Dot in there again. So she's the, what is she, Rideau Arco and I believe Shetland cross sheep. She's very white. So anyways, it was perfect. And I made this really quick. I've stuffed her with, do I know what I stuffed her with? My Canadian Unspun, but the white. So I just balled that up and stuffed it in, and didn't put any beans in her because she said it's stuffy, so it has to be stuffy. So I really enjoyed that. The pattern I'll link below. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it if you are a beginner crocheter, only because I found some discrepancies in stitch count and maybe some rows that were in the wrong place. So I had to figure out some things on my own. But as far as making the body goes, like, it's pretty easy peasy crochet construction. But you do need to have some, I think you would need some background experience. There was a little patch here that was in the pattern that I didn't really care for making. Yeah, I think it's called Unicorn Amigurumi, actually, on Ravelry. But I'll link it below, and I had a lot of fun making this. I believe I used a 2.75mm hook, and I made this, gosh, maybe in 4 or 5 days. It was a lot of crocheting in the evening for when the kids weren't around. So here you go. She is also going to be paired with a backpack I made. Okay. Don't tell Anna. Don't tell Anna from the Bluebird box I knit this. She's supposed to find out Christmas Day. Maybe I won't take her until later. So what Anna really wants to see is a plushie or a stuffy in a backpack hanging on a tree. Okay, so about the backpack. I think that's all. If you want to know anything more about the Heidi, about the unicorn cat, just comment below. You guys are getting all the pet entertainment today. Okay, so I used a yarn I used to dye. It was a 8515 merino nylon that I used to dye, superwashed. And this colorway is called Outrageous because I felt in the pan it was just outrageous and totally out of my style of dyeing. Anyway, so I had this in my stash. I had a sock that was casted on, and I just wasn't going to it. I didn't want to finish it, so I frogged it, and I used it to make this backpack because I thought that would be nice and sturdy because I'm sure this is going to have to get washed. So the pattern is called the Lennox Backpack by Anna from the Bluebird box, and it features this bubble stitch, which actually you can choose to have this version this way out instead. If you want it to be busier looking, you can have this out. I just didn't think that I could see the stitch definition very well with this yarn, and then it looked a little bit more appealing having it this way. So you can see that the stitch kind of bubbles because of these dip stitches. And you start at the base. I'm not going to tell you how it's all done, but you can start down here. There you go, and then you basically knit the whole body, and then she has you do I-cord straps. I took 5 strands of yarn and just crocheted a chain. So crocheted chain, super long, 2 long chains, and then attached it as per the pattern. But I like how you attach them, and I like how, so if Sybil puts something in her backpack and she forgets to close it and she puts it on, it closes itself. I'll show that again on camera. So she puts the backpack on and forgets to close it, but she pulls on the straps, the backpack pulls itself. Very cute, hey? So cute little kiddo backpack. I used the recommended needles in the pattern, and yeah, if you want to make a larger size, the pattern has a larger size, and I just did the small one because it's just supposed to hold her little unicorn cat. So yeah, as you can tell, I have been a busy crafter and gift knitter, so that will be a gift for Sybil. The other thing that I finished for her is not actually knitting. But before I do, I just want to quickly go through my head to see if that was all I wanted to say about those two things. The Lennox Backpack is also a stitch pattern that was featured in Anna's Lennox Pullover, as well as the Lennox Cardigan, which is a toddler child size cardigan. But the Lennox Pullover is one that I have worn here on the channel. And I just realized I didn't talk about my sweater. I'll get to that. So the Lennox stitch is it's like a lattice stitch on one side and a bubble stitch on the other side. Very fun, and I think what I like a lot about it is there's enough stockinette interest, and then a row of some engagement. So it's not quite popcorn or chip eating kind of, I don't even know why that phrase is used, but it's, you can watch a movie while you're knitting that pattern. Same with this, same with the Lennox Backpack. So, right. The other thing that I promised to Sybil, because she, you guys remember if you've been here before, this sweater. So I made this out of yarn from the yarn therapist that I got from Knit City, and I did the Flax Sweater by Tin Can Knits, a free pattern. And so Sybil adores this sweater, but she says she won't wear it if it doesn't have a unicorn on it, a unicorn cat. So for like ages I was looking around online to find something, and I just didn't feel right about having to order something that has to get shipped to me. So why don't I just make it? So that's what I did. I went and I bought some fabric, and I cannot recommend her enough, but I forget her first name now, but the lady who is the maker behind Buku on Instagram has lovely tutorials on how to do embroidery stitching. And so all I did was I went to her page on Instagram and looked at multiple videos and decided which stitch would be best for this here. So all I also did was I looked up a picture on the interwebs and I traced it. I had to use my phone to trace the cat onto a piece of paper, or onto the fabric actually. And then I just embroidered around the body, and I used thicker yarn for the body. I used actual thread for like her whiskers, and embroidery thread for the little flowers. You can see those little flowers. And then I did this like filling in of color here and a little unicorn. And then I was thinking, how am I going to get this off without like the fabric fraying or which not? And then on Instagram, Buku had another video on how to create a patch or like a border so you can cut out the fabric. And so that's what this pink is around here. That's embroidered as well. And then I went and I snipped. I was very brave. I went and I snipped around here, and the fabric is not frayed. And so all I did was I just top stitched it, or I don't know, I just did a regular sewing stitch. Don't even know the terms, you guys. I just stitched it down onto the sweater. So Santa's bringing her I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I don't even think we're going to put names on the presents. I think we're just going to put them out and they'll decide what Santa brought them. I don't know. So Sybil finally has a unicorn cat on her sweater, and she said that she would wear it if there was a unicorn cat on it. So there you go. Check box, tick. I'm so excited for my kids for Christmas Day. I think they'll be very thrilled with what they get from mom and dad. So those are Sybil's gifts. And afterwards I was thinking, because I feel like my kids need equally weighted gifts. So like if I got a stuffy toy for Sybil, but Calvin didn't get a stuffy toy, then he'd be upset because they're just at this age. So a few years ago, I had been thinking about making a frog and toad for the kids, and so I had ordered some Jamieson Smith Spindrift 2-ply jumper weight, I think it is. Yeah, and I hand dyed some yarn in the colors for frog and toad, and then a friend on Instagram was also saying she wanted to knit that. So I said, well, I've got more than enough yarn. Why don't I just send you half of it, of the Jameson and my hand dyed, and you can make them and I'll make them, and it'll be like a fun thing that we do. But last Christmas I was busy and carried away with who knows what, so I didn't do them. Not last, but the Christmas before. I didn't do them. So this year I was like, okay, I'm gonna do these. I know they're fiddly, but we're just gonna brave it. Heidi, you stay there. Naughty kitty. Auntie Kitty. Okay, so I started with frog, and they're fiddly, but they are very quick at the same time. Well, quick for me. Here's frog. His arms, they won't relax. He's so tense. Just relax, frog. Also, you know, you could be a little happier here. I kind of goofed on the eyes. It's a fiddle jiggle. To get these eyes, you have to cut a stitch, pick up stitches, and start knitting the eyelids front and back. And then you also have to knit these little eyes that you have to then sew on. And I sewed them on. I closed up the edges and sewed them on wrong. But anyways, in the pattern, she says, or he says, I don't know who designed it. Frog and Cast is the Instagram page. And the pattern is called Frog and Cast. So the designer says no two frog or toad will be the same. And the eyes are always going to be different. You also have to do some embroidery. Tension's off, who knows? So your eyes are going to be different, and that just makes the character of the stuffy that much greater. So I have sewn in place the jacket and the trousers because I know my kids are going to pull them off and lose them, and they'll end up in the wash because they're Jameson Spindrift. They're going to felt. But anyways, these are the trousers. If you guys ever get your hand on Jameson Spindrift, it's just lovely. They're heathered yarns, much like all those other woolen spun mills will do heathered yarn. The pattern says you can knit on larger needles if you need to, because they're knit on 2.25 millimeter needles, but the body is knit with a DK weight yarn. So you're using pretty small needles, a lot of small circumference knitting, like the arms are pretty tiny, and then the legs have a type of, there's some short row shaping stuff to create this actual leg that looks like a frog. Look at that. Isn't that adorable? And so the pattern, yeah, people say it's fiddly, but you can, if you absolutely don't want to knit these super tiny like this, you don't have to. But I wanted to stuff them with beans and lentils. That's all I had, I think. So frog was first, and I was like, I don't know, do I have time to make toad? I did have time. So I did. He's so cute, and his eyes are so much better. Look at that. Look at these two. Look at the eye difference. Do you see how his top eyelid actually looks like it's continuous from the head, whereas frogs are just like total bug-eyed up and out. They're both bug-eyed. Anyways. They were so cute, and I love the construction of the legs. They were fun because you only knit like say 8 rows, and then you have to do the next thing or so. So small circumference, you know, dealing with small amounts of stitches. And the colors for frog and toad are perfect. So I'm so excited to gift these to Calvin. I hope he adores them, and if not, they might just end up in some reels. Who knows? So yeah, those were all of my finished objects, and we're almost 40 minutes in, and that's all the chat has been. I hope that you've been enjoying sitting here with me, doing whatever you're doing, drinking something hot or cold, or resting by the fire, or sitting on a beach, who knows. But here we are, and it's almost Christmas, and people are still gift knitting. I'm not gift knitting anymore, but I do have things on the needles, and things on the needles are coming right up. But first, I am wearing my Versal pullover, which is designed by Ailbina Mclachlan Designs, I guess. She's a lovely designer. Her patterns are written so well, and especially for those who are adventurous and want to adapt customize your pattern. This I knit, oh gosh, maybe last year, and it features a saddle shoulder, which you see here, saddle shoulder. So the stitches carry on down here. You've got shaping here, shaping there, and short rows at the back to elongate the back. Doesn't actually change your neck shape, but it elongates your back because most of us have longer depth in the back than our front. And this is knit with Nutiden in the colorway Korsbeneja. You can probably try to do a close up. I don't remember if I've shown this one in the podcast before. Another one of those heathered yarns I absolutely adore. And I held Korsbeneja double with itself, plus a strand of Mohair, I believe. And the arms, I forgot to go up a needle size in the arms. I can't remember why there was smaller needles, or maybe I just accidentally went up in bigger needles in the body, but I love this sweater. When it's -40 outside, I don't overheat in this thing, so I love this. And I knit probably the size 4 or 5, something like that. I think I have a project page on Ravelry. It talks a bit about it, so if you want to know more, you can go check that out. But I love it because it has all this like really long ribbing. I didn't actually do as long ribbing as the pattern shows, but yeah. And speaking of Nutiden, I do have a Nutiden project on the go. I've shown it on Instagram stories, and it is the Moonlight Pullover by Melody Hoffman. I was really hoping to be able to show you guys with split sleeves, but this stitch pattern is very time consuming in a good way. This is the Moonlight Pullover by Melody Hoffman. Let me see, is it? There you go. It's really lovely. I've got all of my yarns in the main color, which is Mohair. I'm really sorry about the lighting, you guys. It is just this time of year here in the Yukon. No, it just doesn't. Maybe, no. It was a solstice colorway actually that came out last year. You can see some purple in there. They mixed a ridiculous amount of colors together to create it. When I'm looking at it in a plate, it looks brown, but then up close I see like vibrant purple and blue and chartreuse, basically the color of the rainbow mixed with dark and light natural fibers. And then when it's knit, it looks, looks brown on the screen, but actually in person you see all these beautiful colors. It's called Mohair, I think, something like that. And the contrast colors are Vilgot, which is a pink, it was a Patreon colorway, and Morgan, I think. So here's Morgan. I might have it wrong. And then this is Vilgot. So this one is a higher percentage of, I'm thinking of still some Gotland in this yarn, or at least it's more coarser. It actually kind of reminds me of Icelandic. And there's higher lanolin in it. So it's the thread itself, the single strand is actually pretty thin. And then this one, Morgan, is fluffier, lighter, and the difference here is wool clip. So this would be your spring clip, and this would probably be your fall clip because, this would be your spring clip because you'd have higher percentage lanolin at that time of year, and this would be your fall clip, lower percentage lanolin. That's just what happens with the seasons. Winter, you have more lanolin to make you more insulated and waterproof from snow and rain. So what am I loving about this pattern? I'm loving the simple color work, and I've never done this stitch pattern here before, which is you're wrapping yarn around 2 stitches. But it takes a long time, and it probably takes a lot more time because I'm using unspun yarn. However, I do look forward to the finished item, and I'm happy to take my time on this one. I'm enjoying the colors and just want to enjoy them more. I mostly knit on this at night, but I was hoping to be able to knit on this afternoon. We shall see. And yeah, I think I was contemplating stopping the stitch pattern after, at the yoke when I split for sleeves, and I was like, no, this is just one of those endurance things. You got to keep going, and eventually it will come to an end. It's just a period of time that you just have to get through. You just keep plugging, keep pushing through, and it will get done stitch by stitch. Every stitch counts, right? So yeah, that pullover by Melody Hoffman, it's a good one. I think the pattern is it's a well designed sweater. I'm guessing. I won't really know until I've split for sleeves, but usually rounded yokes fit pretty well on me, so I don't doubt that. I think I more doubt the Nutiden, because on the insides of my floats I have these long floats. They're not that long. There's like a 3-stitch float. However, because it is unspun, I'm thinking in some areas where my floats are a little bit longer, I might need to go take my needle felting tool and just felt it down a bit. And then I'll be okay. So I actually have 2 other sweaters casted on. One of them is not for me. I'm doing my very first, actually second, third sweater knit that isn't for an adult me. And this sweater is the Pink Velvet by Andrea Mowry. And I'm sorry, but this is all scrunched up on my needles. So this here, I am using my low mallet wool and some Surrey alpaca. I'm probably 2/3 of the way down the color work and really enjoying it. This is for Sierra of Crocus Country Shepherdess. So I'm knitting her a sweater in her own yarn. I keep promising her some things. So as we keep working together, I just keep making her things. So she's had a hat by me and a cowl by me, and she'll have a sweater and who knows what else. But I want to do some things for her kids too. Maybe some hats or a scarf, or like a cowl for the girls. A cowl for her daughter and maybe a hat for her son. So I'm really enjoying this pattern. It's really nice with this yarn. It's a fingering weight sweater, and the yarn that I'm using for my low mileage wool is the Gotland, the fingering 2-ply, and it's the medium gray. And again, you guys, this is probably the worst lighting I've had in this whole year of podcasting. Yeah, so when I'm done knitting this, I will block it in probably hot water, just slowly submerge it, because I really want this yarn to bloom and fill in the space. I'm happy with the way the contrast of the color here. I didn't really want something too stark for Sierra. I don't think she's a really loud person as far as like what she wears, and she's familiar with alpaca and this wool together. She actually has a cowl with my handspun and this yarn, so she's familiar. Yeah. As always, Andrea Mowry's patterns are well written and size inclusive, and she often includes, there is some short row shaping, bring down the back. so you don't feel like you're choked. And yeah, I'm happy with that. It'll probably go by quicker once I'm done that yoke. And then I'm also doing another Andrea Mowry pattern, and of course I'm midway through a row. It is the Cozy Cardi, I think it's called, Big Cozy Cardi. And I'm using the Hinterland yarn I showed in a few podcasts ago. I don't think it's in the dusk line. Yeah, dusk line. This is, I believe, 70% Rambouillet and 30% alpaca from their farm. So Hinterland is on the island. I met them at Knit City. Lovely. They had both their kids there in their booth. This is a nice warm color. It's like, I don't know if the alpaca is brown or if it's like that red brown, really dark red brown. I think it is because it just feels such a warm tone. Their alpaca obviously has like guard hairs, so this is a little bit more rustic with its look. Feel wise, it's fine. I wouldn't really know how rustic it is or itchy scratchy it is until I was wearing it, but often these hairs can be a bit pokey, but after some wear with all of our wool, they soften up. So I am following the pattern as written. I decided to go with it, go with this broken rib kind of stitching. Some sunlight back there. Anyways, it's nice. This is, I think, the base. So you work your way up or you work your way down, something like that. And lots of stitches. Rows take a while, but again, every stitch counts. You just keep plugging away, and eventually you'll get there. Yeah, so far it's just knitting a rectangle, so nothing really majorly exciting going on with this pattern apart from the final use of this garment is going to be so good. I have some Surrey alpaca I'll probably dye, although knowing me and my neutral phase right now, actually it's never really been a phase, I've always been a neutrals color person, but I cannot bring myself to think of a color to dye on Surrey alpaca for this, and yeah, I don't know. So either I stay light, like a white, either I just keep it white Surrey alpaca and not dye it, or dye it like maybe like a blush pink or something, or I don't know. I need to, what about this kind of blue? Ooh, do you see that? Like if the Surrey alpaca was that like royal kind of blue. It's more like a teal, more like a bluey, a greenish blue. That was really dark, eh? It's like a really nice navy. Maybe it's navy? I don't know, I'm throwing out different tones here. I'm not even telling the truth. But that's really nice, actually. All right, future Brittany, try to remember this. So, yep, there we go. I have 2 more works in progress. And they are, one is a hat and one is a pair of mitts. So the pair of mitts are a knit along I'm doing. So Skeindeer on Instagram is doing a mystery knit along. So if you are doing the mystery knit along and you have not made it past clue 5, then I would skip ahead. Timestamps are below. So I'm using Raum Finul. Oh, colorways. Don't know. I know one colorway. One colorway is color 4131. It's like this burgundy. And then the other color is this like ochre. It's a very festive pattern. I keep saying, I said to my kids the first time I showed them this, what do you see? They're like, I don't know. And then Sybil said, a present, candles, a bell, an ornament. I don't know if this is a heart or a fan. So, a cross, I think. Whatever this is. And then there's one more motif above. These are getting kind of big on me. And it features a Latvian braid with these hearts here. So I didn't have the needle that she recommended. So I had to, I think I'm doing just like a half size up from what she said. So these are gonna get kind of big. So they might be gifted. If they're too big for me, they're gifted. I'm very happy to gift knitted things to people who will be happy to wear them. So I've only got one mitt on the go, and this is the other side of the mitt. It's quite nice. I'm very happy with my color work. And this one I've been, normally when I do color work, I'm really bad with like switching which color is to my left and which color is to my right, because I use just one hand to do color work. Sometimes if one color is dominant in that row, I'll just switch it to being the first one. But then you can have inconsistencies with your color work. So because I haven't been doing that, I've been like, the main color is the ochre, and that one's supposed to be held on the left side of my hand. But when I knit continental, my finger's always flicking. So I like flicking with my main color. When I'm knitting, like, yeah. So I'm happy with the color work. I'm just a lot more conscious of my knitting when I'm knitting this pattern, because I really want the color work to stand out nicely. So there's that. And then something super, super fun and sparkly is this hat. So I'm using the leftover of this hat, the leftover yarn, which is this, which I'm sold out of. And I got some really sparkly sequins yarn. I have a lot of nieces, and my daughter will wear hats, but they have to have an element of interest, like with color, with feel maybe. And so I was slightly concerned that this would be itchy, but it's not. I don't think so. The sequins on here are really tiny. Do you see that? How fun, hey? So this comes from the Crafty Jackalope. I believe she's either in BC or Alberta. Maybe Alberta. And it's lace weight. Sparkly lace weight. Holding it double. And then the pattern that I'm knitting is a hat by Ailbina Mclachlan. It's the Inver Hat. Classic 1x1 ribbing. And then you got the stitch pattern here. Bit of interest. But the unique thing about this hat is it's not a crown, it's not a circular crown decrease. I think there's some grafting involved in the end to make it look a bit more hipster style. So if you look at the pattern in the picture, it looks more like it's sitting up there like this. That's because there's stitches. Looks more like that. So I thought with the sparkle and that little bit of interest, it would encourage Sybil to want to wear it because of the sparkle. But I don't often buy something like this, but with my nieces and my daughter and my son as well, I thought they would enjoy something fun and festive. So it's not really a Christmas knit. If I get it done before Christmas, then I'll just give it to her. What about, yeah, so I'm just doing a quick little scan around to see if there was anything else. I don't think there is. So I thought I'd just now sit here and knit with you guys. When you're a young family, you often try to figure out some traditions as a family. I would say my husband and I come from families that were like, I guess mildly traditional, as far as like if you're doing Christmas baking or I don't know, like something that's traditional is we always go and cut down our own tree and load up all of the handmade ornaments. They're not all handmade, but I also like to get us new ornaments every year, and we fill stockings with, not fill them full, but we usually do stockings. I think we do them Christmas Eve or Christmas morning, I can't remember. and Christmas Day we slowly go through the presents, because I dislike a chaotic, fast-moving Christmas morning. I'd rather the kids open up a gift and they spend a little time with it first, and then if there's another gift, then we open that gift again so that we can spend some more time with it and think about the people who gave it to us, or how it makes us feel, or share that gift with our family members as we're enjoying them that morning. So traditionally, well, John and I both grew up in Christian homes, so we were used to going to Christmas Eve service. So this Christmas Eve we will be going to our family church, and I will be singing the caroling songs. I play piano and I sing, so I will be doing the music at the candlelight service, and I will be baking some sourdough. I mean, usually turkeys are a bit of a tradition, right? But we have a freezer full of moose and bison and salmon and pike, so we were like, let's have some salmon for Christmas dinner. So I think that's what we're going to do. And for Christmas Eve, I'm going to make a pot of chicken soup and have some family members over. And hopefully it will be warm enough this weekend, maybe to get out for skidoo rides. I'm doubting it, but one can be hopeful, you know? So yeah, it's been almost a year since I started this podcast. January 6th, I think, is the anniversary. And with the last episode, the giveaway was announced over on Instagram, and in the last episode I also announced the giveaway winner, and it was Haley, coincidentally up in Dawson City of here in the Yukon. And so she's received her package, and I just wanted to say how much I really appreciated all of your wonderful messages. There were some that I really wanted to reply to, but I didn't want to mess with the giveaway random selector thing. So I do plan on going back and replying to those comments, because there were some that were incredibly touching and makes this all worth it. Sometimes I come on here talking to myself thinking, like, what am I doing here? Why am I here? And do people care about anything I'm offering as a person? So yeah, it was really touching and encouraging, so I really appreciate that from all of you. So yeah, I think that's about it. I have a little bit of some fun footage at the end of something that we do here in the north. It's very, very cold, so I hope you will stick around to watch that end. It's a mesmerizing video, and I will probably not be on before Christmas or the New Year's, so I just want to wish you guys a very, very Merry Christmas or a happy holiday with family and friends. I hope that you guys will take some moments to recognize massive blessings in your life of people that might be there, even if it's one or two. I hope that you'll take some time to recognize good things in your life that maybe you don't recognize very often, and allow that to really fuel your future endeavors. So yeah, I hope that you guys, enjoy the holidays. Don't make such a huge deal about New Year's resolutions, because life is life, and we go through it as we go through it. And I am here to offer my encouragement and my support and my wool romance, which is just such a bad but good thing. Bye for now. I forgot to tell you guys about my promo in my shop right now, which is free shipping from today until December 31st. So free shipping to anywhere in Canada and the USA. So yeah, if you're looking for anything, please hop on over to the web shop and browse and hope you find something that you like. And I wanted to show you my water bottle cover I knit, gosh, 10 years ago, and it's got a stain, unfortunately. Look at that. But look at the pretty cabling. So I forgot to talk about that because like hot water bottle covers are like popping up in Instagram. Yeah, Instagram stories and on YouTube. So I thought I'd share the one that I've knit. I really want to knit Cat from Heather and Hop's water bottle cover too. So thanks. Bye.